Hey, welcome back to class. In today's class, we're going to continue working on the techniques that we learned in the previous classes, along with chaining together some of our kicking techniques today. So let's go ahead and let's start with our warm-up. Start with some jumping jacks. Make sure you keep breathing here. Don't hold your breath. Nice and light. Raise those arms all the way up. Now let's go ahead and put one foot in front and our other hand out in front, and we're going to do punching switches. Nice and light, no tension in the upper body. Hands basically open. It's kind of wrapped around a little closed, and everything should be getting loosened up. Take all that tension out. Take a breath in. Next thing I want you to do, we're gonna get into a sparring stance. We're gonna bounce our hands floating around, nice and loose. And we're gonna go forward and backwards. All right, both of our feet move backwards, both of them move forwards. Here and here. And we're doing this with our bounces, right? So I'm going here and back. Notice the distance of my feet doesn't change a whole lot. I'm not going all the way up here. I'm just kind of pushing both feet forward, and I'm only moving about 6 or 7 inches. All right, so I'm not moving a whole lot. I'm just kind of bouncing, moving back, bouncing around, moving forward, and back, forward. Keep the motion going. You don't have to do it at the exact same time as me. Just practice that movement. And let's go ahead and let's switch the foot that's in front. We're gonna do the same thing. Bounce, come forward, and backward. Not a big movement, just a small shift, forward or backward. Take a breath in and out. Let's do hip openers. So bring the knee across and open it up nice and wide. And the same thing with the other leg. Keep those toes pointed that direction, pointing towards that outside, and then open up the hips nice and wide. Do some stepping. I step back to help press off a little bit with this. Now let's go ahead and let's do hip closers. Same thing, but opposite. I point my toes about 45 degrees off to the side, bring it out, around, and close it up. Take a breath in and out. Feet are gonna go out. We're gonna drop down. We're gonna do what I like to call the sumo splits. Because I'm like a sumo wrestler, we're gonna put our forearms on the inside of our knees, and we're going to press by extending our arms and open those knees out wide. You should feel this on the inside of your hip on both legs. And now when I'm here, I wanna just kind of relax my hips and allow gravity to start pulling me down, but me opening them up should stop me from actually sinking down. My hips are gonna not allow me to fall. Keeping those knees opened and sitting down into it. Let's go ahead and put one hand on the one knee, and we're gonna drop that same side shoulder. We're gonna try to put a little bit more emphasis on pressing that leg backwards. This forearm is keeping this knee in position. And same thing, other side. Hands on the ground, drop down. If you can, try to keep one heel on the ground as you're doing this. Reach for your toes. Try to stretch those hamstrings and the bottom leg. And let's go ahead and switch to other single leg hamstring. You can add some bouncing in it. Do what you feel like you need to do to get warmed up. Now let's go from one side to the other side. One side to the other side. Try to keep your knee of the bent leg pointed as outwards as possible when you're doing this. If that means for you it's here, that's fine. But I want you to try to keep them nice and open. All right, modified hip twist. Point the inside of the foot, point the inside of the foot. Both toes pointed that way, both feet pointed that way. And take a breath in and out. So, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna review our half roundhouse kick, and then we're gonna do this with an emphasis on rotation or pivoting of the base leg and balance. So we're gonna hold it for 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to rotate back. So those are gonna be the keys that I want you to do. I need you to go where this foot pivots more than, see this is 90, more than 90 degrees. If we can, try to point 180 degrees behind you, but it has to go more than 90 degrees. We're gonna do 2 sets of 15 of this. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and back. 2, 1, 2, 3, and back. 3, 1, 2, 3. 4, 1, 2, 3. 5, try to get the shin horizontal to the ground, head, hip, knee, all in one straight line, and back. 6, 1, 2, 3. 7, 1, 2, 3. 8, 1, 2, 3. Try to keep that balance. 9, 1, 2, 3. Try to keep your knee above your belt level if you can. 10. And back. 11. 1, 2, 3. 12. 1, 2, 3. 13. 14. And 15. Hold it, hold it, hold it, and back. Breathe in and out. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. All right, try to balance for those 3 seconds. And begin. 1, 2, 3. As you can see, my left leg isn't as good. 2, 1, 2, 3. 3, 1, 2, 3. 4. And back. 5. 1, 2, 3. If you start to have to hop around a little bit, that's okay. That's why we're working our balance here. 6. Back. 7. Back. 8. 1, 2, 3. 9. And try to go as horizontal as possible. So you can here, head, hip, knee, all in one straight line. 10. 1, 2, 3. 11. Back. 12. 13. 14. 1, 2, 3. 15. 1, 2, 3. Take a breath. Shake out your legs if you need to, however you need to do that. We're gonna do one more of those on each side. One more set of those, so 15 more on each. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and back. 2, and back. 3, 1, 2, 3. 4, 1, 2, 3. 5, 6, and back. 7, exhale as you bring it up. 8, 9, 1, 2, 3. 10, 1, 2, 3. 11, 12, 13, 14, last one, 15. Breathe in and out. Now we got one more side, and then we'll be done with this specific exercise. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 4, 1, 2, 3. 5, 1, 2, 3. 6, 1, 2, 3. 7, head, hip, knee, all in one line. Leg mostly vertical, or horizontal, excuse me. 8, 9, 10, 11. Make sure you breathe out. 12. 13. 14. 15. Bring it back. Breathe in. Now, if you're stumbling all over the place when you're doing this, that's fine. It's okay. We're working on our balance with this. We're working on getting that rotation. If you need to touch something every now and then to keep your balance, that's fine, but I do want you trying to work, for the most part, without having to hold on to anything. Being able to balance is going to be very important for actually being able to put power in your kick. You're not going to feel very confident putting power in your kick if you're falling over every time you do a kick. So we need to work on that balance. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to we're going to chain 2 kicks together. So we're going to be putting those 2 half roundhouse kicks together. Okay? So the way that we're going to do this, is going to be solo drill number 1, which is focusing on, after the rotation, as soon as this foot touches the ground, my weight is all on this leg. It shifts to this leg and I go right into my pivot. All right, so we're just gonna go 1, right into 2, and then we're gonna turn and face the other direction so that we start with the other leg. 1, right into 2, drop it down. So we're dropping this one down in front. We're not pivoting and bringing it all the way to the back again. And then we're just turning so that we have our other lead in front. Ready? I'm gonna count. 1, as soon as this touches the ground, go right into 2. turn and face the other direction. 2, 1, right into 2. I don't want you to set the foot down, wait, and then go to that next kick. Go right into the next kick. 3, 4. I'm not rushing, but I am transferring immediately. 5. As soon as it touches, I'm going right into that next one. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Feel the weight. Transfer into that front leg and go for the next one. 11. 12. I'm speeding it up just a little bit. 13. 14. Go at whatever pace you can, try to keep up. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. Breathe in and out. The next thing that we're going to do is going to mean another transferring weight into our kicks, right? We want to chain our kicks together, and I want you to practice that. So we're going to do 4 walking front kicks forward, and then we're going to do 4 walking front kicks backwards. So we're going to start off. We can start off in our sparring stance or fighting stance, either one. We're going to kick with the rear leg, front snap kick, drop it down in front. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to move backwards, kicking with our front leg and bringing it to the back. Now, as I go backwards with these kicks, I have to transfer my weight from my front leg all the way onto my back leg so that I can raise that one up, kick, and then set it down behind me. Okay, so we're gonna do 4 moving forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 moving backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and set it down there. Ready? Yeah, of course you are. Let's get it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop it down in front, and now we're moving backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And back. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Front foot comes up. Backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. And one more. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in and out. In and out. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to chain a block followed by a kick. So we just did our front kicks. We're going to do a front kick again. And we're going to start off with a low block. And now this time we're going to step with our low block. So it's not just going to be static or even just using the hip. We're going to step now. So when you step in this way, I want you to step in a specific way. So we could just step forward, but instead of just stepping forward, and watch my belt. See how my belt didn't turn, it just moved directly to the front as I took a small step forward. I want to actually turn my hip to the side, just like we did last time in our last class as we were practicing putting the hip motion into our blocks. So I'm going to step, and I want to touch the ball of my foot to the ground, push my hip to the side, so now my belt is pointed 45 to 90 degrees up to the side, land low block as that heel of my front foot touches the ground, and then I'm going to kick. I'm going to drop it down in front, and I'm going to step back, and then I'm going to step back to squared, or our ready position. So again, from the front, I'm going to be here. I'm turning as the ball of my foot steps forward and touches with the ball of my foot. Hips point 45 to 90 degrees off to the side. Drop it down. Notice how my belt swings as I do that low block. And then I do my front kick, and I set it down in front. Step back, step squared. So we're going back to our ready position, our Junbei position each time. We're gonna do 20 of these on each side. So we're only gonna start with one side first. If you wanna mirror me, start with your right hand blocking first. I'm gonna go with my left hand blocking first. Ready? Turn, step with the ball of the foot, block, kick, drop it down in front, step back, step squared. That's 1. 2, turn those hips, kick, drop down, step back, step squared. Set up, make sure your palm is towards your face. Block, kick, drop down, step back, step squared. That's 3. Set up, block, kick, drop down, step back, squared. 4. Going for 5 now. Block, kick. Notice how my hands come up here as I'm going for that kick. And set it down, step back and squared. 6. Back, squared. Set up, turn the hip and the belt, step forward, block, kick, and that's 7. 8. 9. Now I want you to notice I'm going to start putting power, but I'm still going to go slow. All right, so I can put power and still go slow, and I want you to try to do that as well. And 10. And back. 11. 12. Keep it going. Loose, loose, loose. Everything is nice and relaxed. Add tension at the end. Stop. Everything has a sudden stop. No extra movements. Hands come up. Kick, front kick. And that was 13, I believe. 14. 15. 16, still using both my hands. Block, kick. 17. 18. Notice how as I do my front kick, I still have that slight pivot. So it goes 30, 45 degrees from the front. Is that 18? Or is it 17? We'll go with this one's 18. 18. 19. 20. And breathe in and out. So I really want you to be able to apply that power into those blocks. And you do that with that hip turning motion. And again, make sure the ball of foot touches first as we turn here, and then we sink back down. That heel drops as I finish my block. that's when that heel drops completely. Other side. So I'm gonna go with my right side now. Go ahead and switch. Set up, step. Sometimes it's just the toe, sometimes it's the ball of the foot touching, but it finishes when that heel touches. Lock and kick and back. That's one. That's two. That's three. Four. That's five. Turn, set up, palm towards your face, using both arms. Block, other hand is right there at that hip bone, feeling the belt. Kick, set it down and back. That's six. 7. 8. 9. Now you might notice, if you're really looking, you should be practicing, so you probably don't notice this. But I'm kicking with the ball of my foot now, instead of kicking with the top of my foot. We're gonna get into that later, but if you notice me doing it, I'm doing it on purpose, because I like kicking that way better. But it's a little bit more complicated, so we'll get to that in a little bit. Not today. What are we on? 8? We'll go with 8. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. Set up slow, nice and relaxed. Turn and add that tension. I think that was 13. I'm bad at counting if you haven't noticed. That's okay. Hopefully we do more and not less. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. And out. Now we're gonna do the same thing, except we're gonna do it with our high blocks. So, as we're getting ready to do this with our high block, we're setting up, stepping forward, right? Notice how when I even do this, I turn my hips 45 degrees, the belt, not in my belt, was facing the front, faces 45 degrees, as my knees allow me to sink down. I'm gonna stick this forward, and then I'm going to propel myself off of this back leg. Right, so I'm here, I set up, I start to turn first, then step, or I can slightly step as I set up, and then I'm going to be loading everything onto this back leg, and then I'm gonna propel myself, right? Extend at the ankle, the quads, and the glutes. For that high block, then we're on to front kick, okay? So I want you making sure you're practicing that portion of it now. You can set up first before you put the foot out, or you can stick the foot out at the same time. So, same time, or set up, out, and then block. And then make sure you're really exploding off that back leg. You're really practicing that extension. This leg doesn't do much, but that leg adds that power. That sudden contraction of all the muscles in the leg, all the muscles that cause extension in the leg, is going to be what gives you the power here. It's also gonna be what makes it look like a good technique. Because I could do a technique like this, even if I'm kind of going through and doing the proper motions. If I do everything with just kind of this relaxed this, you see there's no real change in the tension of my body. It's not going to look as nice and it's not going to have the same power generation that we're looking for. I want you to learn how to quickly activate your muscles, contract them, and then be able to release them. That's how you're gonna be able to generate quick power. And that's what the purpose of our pumse or our forms are actually for, is the ability to generate that power and have that control over your muscles. Okay, well, I'll talk more about pumse stuff later, but this is leading into that, especially these traditional blocks that we're practicing. The purpose is really to know how to contract your muscles and release them and just have that good bodily control. So let's go ahead, let's get started with this. I'm gonna start blocking with my left hand first. So I'm gonna bring it across, and my left foot is gonna be the foot that steps out into the front, okay? If you wanna mirror me, do that with your right leg. Ready? 1, and kick. Set up, palm facing up, the hands at the bottom. 2. Really use those muscles back there. Still tensing up everything here as we finish that block. And kick. 3. 4. 5. If you're wearing your dobok, that tension, like I was talking about, that's how you make the dobok pop, instead of just moving it around and it doesn't really make that popping sound. You'll hear a lot about people talking about popping the dobok, and that's how you do that. Set up. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Relax, palm up, palm in, block, wrist still in line with the ear, ulna bone pointed out, other hand at the belt. I think that was 10. I think it was 10. We're gonna go with that was 10. Sit up. 11. 12. 13. 'Make sure those hands come up as you're getting ready for that kick. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. Breathe in and out. Now we're gonna do the same thing with our other leg. Now, you should be breathing and exhaling on each one of these because you're adding that tension to your body and not just loosely going through these motions. You should start to feel yourself breathing a little bit harder. It should be a little bit of an exercise. We're not going super fast, and if we were really repping these out really fast, you'd be way more tired, but you should start to feel something. It shouldn't just be, all right, oh, I can do 100 of those. No. Yes, you could, but if you're doing them correctly, they're going to be more tiring than if you're just loosely throwing stuff out there. So keep that in mind as well. Work on the mind-muscle connection. That's what I want you to try to feel. Feel everything's nice and loose as I'm in this setup position. I set up, and then I contract everything all the way up the body. Every muscle stops, and then I relax again immediately. Ready? Other side. I'm gonna be blocking with my right hand first, so if you're mirroring me, you're gonna be using your left. 1, palm facing up, block, kick, set it down, step back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now you might notice that I'm starting off my setup nice and slow, and then I'm executing fast. What was that? 18? 19? 19? I think that was 19. One more. And 20. In and out. All right, so the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to be doing our jab, and we're going to follow up with a half roundhouse kick. Now this half roundhouse kick could be full roundhouse kick, could also end up being a knee strike. I just want you to throw it like it's half of a roundhouse kick currently, but one of the cool things about doing roundhouse kick, especially after doing this jab, which is a pretty close range punch, and it's not super close, it's kind of feeling at the end of my range, of my punching range, but then my half roundhouse kick could easily just come around and be a round knee. Now, there's a little bit of a different motion between a half roundhouse kick and a round knee. I'm not gonna get too much into that, so I just want you to currently practice as it's a half roundhouse kick, as if you would be snapping it out and kicking at the end. But I just want you to know that that is an option, and it doesn't take a lot of effort to switch from what would have been a roundhouse kick to a round knee based off of your proximity to your opponent. So just be aware of that is an option. Not quite what we're focusing on here, but just know most of the things that I show you can be tweaked in a little way so that they can work in a lot more scenarios than just one. And I want you to, even if we don't practice it, understand and think about all the different possibilities for these techniques and how they could be executed. Most of the time it just needs a small little tweak. Okay? So, jab, half roundhouse. Sounds good? We're gonna do 2 sets of 20. Not 2 sets of 20, sorry. We're gonna do 2 sets of 10, totaling 20 on each side. My bad. But we're gonna do 10 on one side, switch, 10 on the other side, switch, switch. Ready? 1, jab, shoulders high, punching with those 2 big knuckles, half roundhouse. Try to get over 90 degrees with that pivot. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch sides. Now we have our other hand in the lead. 1, 2, still slow. 3, look at my hands. 4, other hands at the face. That jab went back to the face as I threw that round knee. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch again. Now we're going to go back to the first side and we're going to pick up the speed. So we're going to go a little bit faster with this. The first 10 we're kind of figuring it out. So let's try to pick up the speed some. 1, 2. Now because this is only a half roundhouse kick and you're not actually hitting something, unless you are hitting something, you kind of will pause at the top of that and then set it down. So don't try to overly rush the ending of that. Is that 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. What I'd like to be fast is, as this retraction is happening, I'm going right for that half roundhouse kick. That's where I kind of want this speed going. 6, 7. I don't want any time delay between your jab and the half roundhouse. 8, 9, 10. Take a breath in and switch. Same thing, other side. Again, speed, especially the jab and the retraction into that half round. After that, you can kind of slow it down and reset. 1, 2. If it drops down in front, you have to step back, that's fine. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And slow down a little bit. Great job. So I'm going to quickly recap the things that we went over today. The first thing we did after our warm-up was the half roundhouse kick. We were holding it for 3 seconds, trying to make this parallel to the ground, head, hip, knee, all in one straight line, and trying to get 180 degrees, but we always want to get over 90-degree pivot in that base leg. After that, we went to Soldier 1, which is connecting 2 half roundhouse kicks, focusing on shifting the weight right as that foot drops and going right into our next one. After that, we did walking front kicks. So we were here, we kicked, dropped it down in front, 2, 3, 4, got to the front, and then we went back, kicking with the front foot and bringing it all the way to the back. 4 forward, 4 backwards. After that, we went and we did our low block to our front kick, and we were focusing on being able to generate power and turn our hips with that low block right into our front kick. We're gonna popping our do block. And we did the exact same thing using our high block, setting up, turning our hips, dropping down, and really exploding into that by contracting our back leg and tightening up everything, and then relaxing immediately afterwards, and then following up with that front kick. From there, we did our jab, followed by a rear leg, half a roundhouse kick. As I mentioned, you could turn that into a round knee strike as well. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cool down and we're gonna do some stretches. So that's good. And let's start again with that sumo split that we did at the beginning of class. We're gonna go here. Try to point your toes outwards as much as you can. Now, when your heels and feet are in this line, it's a little bit hard to keep your balance. So work on that balance as well, don't fall. This is obviously easier to keep the balance, but it keeps your knees pointed more forward. When we can point them outwards like this, we're able to point our knees using our forearms to push them open. So push it nice and wide open. You should feel the stretch here. If you're not feeling the stretch, you're probably too tense and holding yourself up. Right? If I hold myself up like this, it's really hard for me to actually get the stretch. I'm actually not using any muscles to hold me up. It's gonna be more structure. The muscles are being stretched, and that's what's holding me up. So I'm relaxing down into this position as opposed to here where I'm holding myself. So I have to have my forearms here because a lot of my weight actually goes into my forearms, and my forearms are pressing my knees open. You should be feeling that stretch right on the inside of your thighs on those adductor muscles. From here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go right into the splits. So we went from our sumo splits to our normal splits. Try to get your toes relatively pointed up. My toes, actually, as I look at them from the side, they're about 45 degrees. So not pointed directly up, they're pointed about 45 degrees forward. Stay nice and relaxed. If you're on your knuckles like I am, try to keep it so that you're on those punching knuckles. See, I'm on those 2 big punching knuckles. Here I'm on the 3 knuckles. I want to roll it so I'm on those 2, keeping my wrist in alignment. I could obviously do this if I wanted to, going onto my wrists. But if you're doing this, sometimes it's a little bit more comfortable. Then go ahead and get that rep in making sure that we punch correctly. And let's come up, pick a side. One hand goes to the middle, other hand goes to the outside, and then slide back down. Now notice my back leg is flat. My foot is completely on the ground, and I want to keep my back knee as straight as possible. I don't want it to bend here. Keep it nice and straight. And let's come up, and let's go to that other side. Same exact thing. Every time you go into this, you probably feel your muscles fighting you. They're contracting, they're tensing up. And then there's a certain point where you just kind of feel a release. When your muscles decide, fine, we're gonna do this, I guess. Let's not hurt ourselves and let's get the stretch. That's what we're looking for. We wanna feel that release point. And sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes it's not too long at all. And let's go back to the front. And we'll go ahead and sit down here, bring our feet in close to us, and let's butterfly. Again, I butterfly, not really for a stretch, more just for getting the blood back to my legs after I do the splits. Feels good to me. From here, let's go ahead and stick one foot to the front, and let's reach for our toes. If you can reach your toes, then grab right around the ball of the foot, and pull that portion back so your heel is actually further out than the ball of your foot. It'll give you a little bit of a calf stretch and start to work a little bit of the connection points right behind the knee. And switch. here, what I want you to do, you have one leg straight. I want you to grab your other leg, put your ankle just above your kneecap, and then bend the bottom leg. Hands go back, bring it in close to you. And now with those hands back, I want you to actually push your back forward. You should feel the stretch right here on your glutes. Sometimes I will put the blade edge of my foot right into the crease of my elbow and then hug under my knee or around my knee, and I'll bring it in close as well. And I'll hold this. This is another way of doing that same stretch. Some people can only do this at first and they feel a whole lot of stretch, but if you are more flexible, you might have to bring it in a little bit closer to you and lean forward more like this. Up to you. Other leg, put it on top, bend it in, bring it close. If you need to hold like this, that's fine. If you can, wrap and bring it in closer, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Also seen people, well, they'll hug this other leg and they'll kind of rock back as they do this and hug. Personally, I prefer this way though. Go ahead and stand up. Shake our legs out. And cherry up. Bow. Good knee. And great job on the class, you guys. You know what to do. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe. If you're not already, and comment. Please comment. It helps me get more views, and yeah, I want to make more videos if you guys help me get more views. See, we help each other. So go ahead and comment down below. Let me know what you liked about the class. Let me know what you didn't like. If there's something you want to see more of, something you want to see less of, that's how I'll find out. So comment down below. Other than that, have a great day.